These cold temperatures like this can be dangerous. Continuing our team coverage now with Aisha at the First Alert Safety Desk. We want to talk about ways to protect yourself to avoid frostbite and hypothermia.
Yeah, Tammy, your body starts to lose heat so much faster in temperatures like this, especially as we dip into those single digits, the negatives, common sense stuff. But we have to talk about all of this on a day like today. The CDC says some people who are at risk for frostbite and hypothermia are older people, anyone who is outside for a long period of time, and babies sleeping in cold rooms. You've heard Bo talking about this morning. It could happen in a matter of minutes. So we'll start with frostbite. The signs and symptoms right away: redness or pain in any skin area. That might be the first sign. Other signs: a white or grayish yellow patch of skin, maybe skin that feels unusually firm or waxy or numb. And then we've talked about hypothermia. It's a little bit different. If it's cold and someone is wet, they may be shivering, exhausted, confused. They also might be slurring their speech. If a person's temperature is below 95%, the CDC says to get medical attention immediately. Something else you want to do is get that person into a warm room or shelter right away. Remove any wet clothing, warm them under dry layers of blankets, and lastly, place areas affected by frostbite in warm to touch water. It does happen. It's a day to make sure. You also check in on your older loved ones and friends, but also protect your pets from this cold. Make sure you're bringing them inside. Lots to talk about this morning. We still need to talk about staying safe at home during these extremely cold temperatures. That's coming up in the next half hour, guys.